Aloha, my name is Dr. Nicholas Tanchef. We are today going over day 7 water fasting lab work. Okay? So, one of the first things that we can go over is cholesterol. Okay? Has anyone looked at their cholesterol levels from the previous week to this week? Christina, what do you see?
It was not good.
But what is happening?
It was 267 and now it's 283.
Okay, so it's gone up. Is that correct?
Yes.
Can anyone else see their cholesterol levels have gone up from last week?
Not mine.
Did yours go down?
Yeah.
Okay. How much did yours go down?
It was 217 and now it's 28.
Okay, so yours has gone down a little bit. And most people's cholesterol has gone up. Correct?
Yeah, is that
Yes.
Is that the one that's EGFR?
No, cholesterol.
Oh, okay. All right.
Is anyone surprised to see cholesterol going up?
Yeah, why does it do that?
Okay, so does anyone have any idea why that would happen? Why would your cholesterol increase when you're water fasting?
It goes into your blood system when you're fasting.
Right. And why is it going into your blood system when you're fasting?
Because of the water, it goes deep in the cells and dissolve.
So whenever you go into a situation of water fasting, your body starts eliminating excess. Anything your body doesn't need, it's going to eliminate. Okay? Why would you need cholesterol? Why would your body hold cholesterol?
Keep you warm.
Well, there's a lot of reasons, but one of them is that it protects your artery walls. Okay, so it protects your arterial walls. So when there's inflammation in the body, your body will hold more cholesterol. When the vascular system is inflamed, okay? When there's more inflammation in the blood. So now your body is saying that we don't need as much cholesterol anymore because your blood is getting cleaner. Okay, so when you're water fasting, your blood system starts cleaning house, right? So your whole house is getting cleaned and your body is starting to remove excess cholesterol that you don't need. So what do you think will happen after you start refeeding?
It's going to go down?
Your cholesterol levels will be lower than your first blood work when you came here or when you arrived here and we took your first lab work before you started water fasting.
So what's up with my case?
But right now, well, yours is still going to go lower. Even when you start refeeding, yours is still going to go lower. Yours went down maybe a little bit, but not a lot.
No, but it didn't go up like
Yeah, it didn't go up, but yours was already a little bit high. It just didn't necessarily go higher. But yeah, so it's not that you're an abnormal person because you will sometimes see people that already had a little bit high cholesterol, and now after 1 week your body is already starting to drop a little bit,
So I know it's going to be even better for you.
When we start refeeding and the cholesterol.
How about triglycerides? Sorry, I'll get to your question. Did anyone notice triglycerides? That's after cholesterol.
Mine is extremely high now.
Has yours gone up or down from last week?
Literally down from 75 going to 165.
To 161, yeah?
That's pretty bad.
Anybody else?
Went up?
Did yours go up?
Yes.
Nicole?
I think it was 190 and then 226, is that right?
It's gone up? Okay. I don't memorize everybody's numbers like offhand.
If I'm reading this correctly.
Well, it's, yeah. Guadalupe?
She likes to
One up.
Went up. Okay. So again, your body is eliminating excess. Correct? So your body is eliminating triglycerides. Triglycerides are part of the fat cells, and as we saw in your urine samples the day before yesterday, your body is in high ketosis right now. Okay, some of you, when we checked your urine after 1 day of water fasting, some of you were in mild ketosis. Okay, so 1 day of water fasting, some of you had trace low amounts of ketones. Now everybody, after almost 1 week, I think it was 5 days really total of water fasting the day before yesterday, everybody was in high ketosis. The highest measurement we can measure in ketones, you guys were all at the highest level, okay? So that's why water fasting is more effective than any other way of eliminating excess than anything else that exists on the planet. There's not another way to eliminate excess of what you don't want in your body more than water fasting. Are there a lot of other ways to sell other ideas that may sound a lot easier than doing what you're doing right now? Okay? There's a lot of popularity in going into ketosis right now in the health world, right? A lot, more than ever. 20 years ago, if you mentioned the idea of going into ketosis, it was like, wow, that is the worst thing ever. Why? Because everyone who's ever known of going into ketosis has always been a bad thing because they were going into what is known as ketoacidosis, okay? Which is not good, okay? Who goes into ketoacidosis?
Diabetics.
Diabetics go into ketoacidosis, okay? So if you were to tell a medical doctor about going into ketosis as a good thing, oh my God, they would be like, if you're water fasting, you're going into ketosis. And they would say how bad that is to me, 20 years ago, because that's when I started learning about water fasting was 20 years ago. And 20 years ago, water fasting didn't have as much popularity as it does today. There was, still a small amount of population of people that knew about water fasting as being effective for the treatment of disease, but it wasn't. Nowadays, it seems there's a lot more popularity around all types of quote-unquote fasting.
But it's been done for centuries though, right?
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, you can read about fasting in the Bible. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Let's go to LDL. That would be an interesting one to look at for you, Patrick. I didn't memorize your numbers. I did not memorize your numbers. I briefly looked at everyone's numbers, so let's look at Patrick's and just out of curiosity, look at last week's LDL and look at this week's LDL. That's a specific type of cholesterol called low-density lipoprotein. LDL. Read January 31st LDL.
You went up. You almost did.
Yeah.
Read January 31st LDL.
Went up a little bit.
Okay, so your LDL has gone up. Okay, and that's a very important thing to see because your low-density lipoprotein is the actual number in terms of when we look at cholesterol, we're more concerned about LDL eliminating from your body than we are with total cholesterol. So the first number we looked at was total cholesterol. Okay, now we looked at the one we really don't want more of, and that was the low density lipoprotein. And yours is showing that you're getting rid of more than before. Because right now you're in water fasting. You're not eating cholesterol right now. So where is that additional cholesterol coming from in your blood? It's not from what you've been eating for the past week. It's from what your body has been eliminating for the past week. Okay? So I'm actually holding Christina's at the moment. So she's the example that I'm currently holding. And the other thing that we like to look at is the actual ratio. Okay? So that ratio is cholesterol to HDL ratio. Okay? What is yours, Patrick?
HDL?
Your cholesterol to HDL ratio.
It went up a little bit.
And what is your number?
3.14 and now it's 3.92.
Okay, so your ratio has gone up. Okay, so that ratio will come into good, healthy numbers once you've eliminated all that excess LDL. Okay, it'll go lower because we want that ratio as low as possible. Okay, that means our high density lipoprotein, which is really good for us, is going to go up, and our low density lipoprotein, which is causing more inflammation in our body, is going down. Okay? So LDL is going to lead to more cardiovascular disease. HDL is going to lead to more cardiovascular health. And so when that ratio comes into a really good ratio, our cardiovascular system is much healthier. And our health is in our blood. And the healthier our blood system, the more our system will be able to heal us. That's why 6 months after this program, you will notice more health benefits than just from the 21 days that you're here. Because during the next 6 months, your blood system should be continue to maintain a lot of health, you know.
Because of this, what we've done here.
Yeah, because we're taking you from a sickened system, which we can see 7 days into fasting. We're going to continue to go through more numbers. And you're going to see how your body has responded to show you that there were some issues that may not have ever been noticed if you were in a feeding state and you just went to the doctor and said, hey, give me a blood test. You know, had I not run a C-reactive protein, a highly sensitive C-reactive protein on you, which your doctor, let me tell you, will never run. He'll never look for it. Pedro was at the hospital for 3 days. Not one time did they order a C-reactive protein, highly sensitive C-reactive protein. I mean, come on. Come on. Otherwise, what's going to happen? They're going to. You went in. You maybe did a 12-hour fast. You had dinner at 8 p.m. You went into the blood test lab at 8 a.m. They took your blood test and they said, "Well, there's nothing wrong with you. Everything looks good." I mean, nothing really. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, oh, no big deal. You're all good. 7 days after your water fasting, whoa, you start to see there's some issues going on. Let's go back to the first page. Let's go back to the first page. Let's look at number one. Let's look at some interesting information. Let's look at some people had high glucose on day one. How many of those people had high glucose? Donna was one of those. Who was another person who had high glucose? I think Lupe was one of those. Is that correct?
Yes, it went down.
Give us a high number.
Now, anybody who has seen higher glucose, look at your glucose from day 1 to today or yesterday. Donna, how's your blood glucose look compared to last week?
Lower.
Well, it's lower. It's in within normal limits now.
Yes.
Isn't that a good thing?
Yes.
What do you think about fasting for 7 days for someone who suffers with high blood sugar?
It's great.
Could it be a good thing?
Yes.
Could be a great thing because it's really easy to predict what's going to happen.
It's going down.
It's really easy to predict. And how are these diabetics being treated right now? Oh, the only thing I can think of is, you know what? We got to give you some insulin to help with that blood sugar. I mean, come on. Really? That's all you can think of? I mean, they can think of, some ways of helping them modify their diet a bit. Don't eat fruit. Maybe some oatmeal is okay, but don't eat fruit. And all these other ideas of, how they can, I mean, it's kind of interesting. Kind of sad, yeah. Kind of sad, yeah. Okay, let's look at AST and ALT. AST, ALT.
Page 1?
Page 1.
Yeah.
Page 1, AST, ALT. Very, very important numbers. Extremely important numbers. How many people have seen AST and ALT increase from January 31st?
I did.
Increase from January 31st.
It increased.
Increase from January 31st.
It increased a lot.
Increased a lot.
Where is the yes?
Why would that happen?
Why fasting?
Water fasting. That'll be the answer for every question from now on. I know the answer. It's water fasting.
What does that stand for again?
I honestly cannot tell you that I remember what AST stands for, but these are liver enzymes. They used to be called SGOT and SGPT, and then they changed the name to AST and ALT. And those are liver enzymes. So how many people knew that they had some issues with their livers?
Me.
Yeah, you knew? Okay. But on January 31st, did the numbers show anything significant?
Well, I'm not a learned studier of these.
No, just were they black, like bold, or were they just normal?
Not bold.
What were the numbers?
Let's see, the 31st for me, AST 17.
Oh, perfect. Perfect. Oh, man, if I had seen you in my office and you'd come in with an AST of 17, I would have said, oh, man, your liver is just as perfect as can be. Oh, that's perfect.
You mean if you're a white coat? Or if you were you?
Well, even me, I wouldn't be able to know the difference because I haven't been able to put you on a 7-day water fast, so I wouldn't have really been able to predict in advance. I probably would have known that, it's probably going to go up, but I don't know how much it's going to go up. It might be not an issue, but either way, 17 is really, really good.
It is? All right, now.
But then when we see, what did it go to? 44? So it's gone up to an unhealthy number. So if you go up to, I think Pedro's numbers, I looked at his lab work, he was in the 50s or 60s on AST and ALT at the hospital, and Dr. Kassar was just here a minute ago and said that they wanted to medicate him because he had liver problems, right? And so if you went into the doctor's office after 7 days of water fasting, let me tell you, that doctor would not say water fasting has done you any good at all. He would tell you, holy shit, you're getting worse. You're getting sick. You're getting really sick. Fuck. This is the worst thing ever you could ever do for yourself.
Stop now.
They would be like, what the fuck? This is bad. Like, whoa, you're getting cardiovascular disease, you're getting kidney disease, you're getting liver disease, you're going into macrocytic anemia. You know, all these different conditions. He would be like, whoa, no way, Jose. That's not going to be good. Right?
Yeah.
Exactly. You wouldn't know. That's why I think it's interesting when oftentimes I have people who will email me and they'll say, oh, will you supervise my fast by phone? And then I will have my lab work done by my doctor, and he can monitor my lab work while I go through the fast. And I'm like, yeah, that'll be a great idea. Your medical doctor will monitor your lab work while you're water fasting, and he's never even looked at a clinical experience of a patient water fasting before, and it'll all be brand new to him. And I tell you, the first time you have your lab work, that medical doctor is going to say, stop. That's not happening. That's not good. You're getting sick. And the patient might be like, well, you know what? Yeah, I'm not really feeling that good, actually. I'm feeling really weak. I'm getting lightheaded. I kind of felt like some nausea. I almost wanted to vomit. He's like, you know what? You guys better just stop that right now. Because, why do you want to go through getting sick? You were doing a lot better when you were eating. And remember when I was giving you that medication, how good everything was doing? Your cholesterol was staying in normal limits. And, everything was getting good when you were on the drugs. Right? How many times I see patients, all the time, of course, and they're people coming to me for neck, back pain, so, they don't talk to me about all their other, health issues because they think I'm an idiot anyways. I'm just a chiropractor, help me with they don't think I'm an idiot, but you know what I mean? They just think I'm there, I can help, but I wouldn't know anything about anything else. That's what they go to their doctor for. Their real doctor, of course, right? So I just think it's interesting because you'll hear people talk about, as you're, in conversation, you can see my sessions are kind of long, right? I'll spend, a good hour with clients, so, you talk about a lot of things, when you got a session with someone for that long and, they come in many times and, you get to know them. So, everyone really loves their doctor who can keep their cholesterol levels in good level, you know what I mean? Oh yeah, that sounds great. How long are you supposed to stay on those medications? Well, I don't know. I've been on them for like 10 years, 10 years. How's that neck pain been doing over the past 10 years? It's been getting worse, Because what happens with all those pills? Calcification. Builds up as calcification in the joints. Yeah. So always, this is, before, I even start treating them, you know what I mean? They're coming in with neck and back pain and all this, and of course, you can feel all the calcification build up and on their form, they always fill out what medications they're on, and almost all of them are on statins. Right? And then a fair amount of them are on their insulin. And then the other one that a lot of people are on is atenolol, which is for a lot of the arrhythmias and cardiovascular disease. Right? Okay, let's go to another interesting one that you guys are going to really love. I want you guys to go to page 2, and I want you to look at uric acid. And I want you to look at your January 31st uric acid. And I want you to look at your February 7th uric acid.
Went up quite a bit.
Yeah.
Went up quite a bit, didn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. So does anybody understand what uric acid is?
Nope.
It's also crystallization, is forms of crystallization.
Right. So what's happening in your body right now when you see your uric acid levels going up that high?
They're getting moved.
Your body is eliminating a lot of uric acid. A lot. And oftentimes when people are going through the experience that you're feeling, they're going to start feeling their kidneys getting some deep inflammation in there.
I did this morning.
And they start finding it hard to sleep at night because they're like, oh, my back, you know, and they start feeling it in the kidney area. Okay? So for chiropractors who monitor patients' water fasting, this is a really good thing for us because we make more money. They're like, oh, I got pain. Doctor, I got pain, you know? Anyways.
You're worth every penny.
Thank you. So, but yeah, so anyone else feel any kind of flank area inflammation?
Left? What's that? Back
Left
left?
kidney.
In the flank area, sometimes you'll experience some acute inflammatory crises is happening.
It can be in either kidney.
Definitely.
Okay.
Can it be in either kidney?
Of course.
Yes.
Yeah, because it's happening in both your kidneys, but where you might feel the symptomatic sensation might differ between right and left. Okay, so this number right here, if anybody was to see a number like this, they would say, you've got kidney disease, you've got kidney issues. Your kidneys are not healthy. That's what someone not knowing what's happening with what you're doing right now would say. Okay?
Guess what? More pills.
You're going to need, for a number like that? Whoa! And what is the medication they're going to put you on for that? Even I can't think of it right now off the top of my head. I'm trying to think of it. But it's what they would give to anyone who has any gouty arthritis. Okay, because when you start seeing uric acid levels getting that high, you're thinking gout, right? Because not many people are going to have numbers like that. Okay? And what is your number, by the way, Lupe? I'm just curious.
The high number or
The high one.
11.7?
11.7. And what did you start at?
3.7.
3.7 to 11.7. An 8-point jump. Okay? So if we had put Lupe, rheumatoid arthritis, on a diet modification program, how long do you think it would fucking take for her to eliminate that much uric acid? Forever. Jesus, it would have taken a long fucking time. A long time. But we put you on 7 days of water fasting, and she eliminated already heavy amounts of uric acid. A lot easier to just change your diet. Oh, it's easier, right?
No.
But you know what? It's not really, actually.
No.
It's really not.
This is much.
This is easier because you make massive changes in a short amount of time.
Yeah. Yes.
So imagine how much better those kidneys are going to filter when you start refeeding, because there's going to be so much less of a toxic burden on those kidneys.
For sure.
Do you guys understand that all of your conditions, or not having any condition, because we have some people who came in here with some conditions, medical conditions. We have some people who are not here with any medical conditions. But do you understand that all of these medical conditions are a result of your organs not being able to process the toxic world
Yes.
effectively? And so all of these things build up in our bodies because our organs just are overburdened and can't take it anymore. And is saying to you, I need to stop everything and let these guys have a rest, a complete rest from all food, all metabolization of nutrients, of external nutrients, because your body is still metabolizing nutrients right now. Do you know that? Your body never stops metabolizing nutrients while you're water fasting. You're metabolizing nutrients. Your body is breaking down the excess of everything it doesn't need, eliminating the toxicity of it, and your body has these stores of reserves. Like how many people, if we look to page 1, and we look at sodium and potassium and chloride, but really the most important is just looking at sodium and potassium, how many people realize that your sodium and potassium levels are still within normal limits?
Pretty much flat.
Still within normal limits. How many times have you been told that you're going to go nutrient deficient if you don't eat something?
All the time.
Okay, these are your most important cellular minerals, sodium and potassium. Okay? And if you're staying within normal limits on those, your cellular system is still getting what it needs. Okay? So your body breaks down and eliminates the shit it doesn't need, so that it's got stores of reserves. And in those reserves is a lot of toxicity of shit you don't want. And then it allows for you to still have available the nutrients, enough nutrients that you still at least need. Okay, the human being species is the only species on the planet that has the capability to survive, and not just survive, but oftentimes even thrive by not eating. Okay, what happens to most animal species if they can't get food? You know, eventually, if they can't get any access to food, they will die out. The human being species has survived for, we don't know how many years. I mean, there's a lot of theories about how long the human being species has survived. But how many times do you think in the history of our species that there has been times when food was difficult to get because we planted some crops, we expected a harvest, the harvest didn't come. You know, I'm sure there's been a lot of times where human beings have gone through periods of time, not in today's modern world, you know what I mean? But there's been times in the history of our species, I'm sure, where human beings didn't get the crop to come in and they were forced to fast.
Great potato famine in Ireland.
They were forced to fast.
Depression.
And of course, nobody wants to fast without choosing to do so. But the interesting thing is that it's possible for us to still stay alive and still use the reserves that we do have available. Okay, so let's go to some more numbers here, some interesting numbers. Okay, so let's go to, there's a few people that had a high on page 3 of 4.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Do you know who's gone the longest without eating but while staying healthy?
There are some books, there are some studies. There was a guy, I believe, who did like 70 2 days, something like that. I can't remember offhand. I used to like study all this fasting information like a lot, you know, because it was so interesting to me. But I mean, I've personally supervised people fasting over 40 days. I think 43 days, 42 days, and quite a few people who got up to, you know, the 40-day number. 40 days is a popular number just because it has biblical reference, and a lot of people like to do that 40-day number, you know. But me personally, the longest I've done by myself was 32 days. CRPHS. CRPHS, page 3 of 4. Christina, tell us.
From 1.6 went up to 12.3.
Wow. Wow. Isn't that interesting? Now imagine if you had gone into the hospital with a number of 12.03 baseline. Imagine that. What would we be thinking? Cancer.
Oh,
Yeah, we would think that's serious. That is a serious number. It's either very, very, very one of the worst numbers you might see in an autoimmune condition or cancer. Yeah. But you started out at 1.6, did you say?
yes,
And you went up to 12.03.
that's correct.
Okay. So because we know what's happening, you've done 7 days of water fasting, we know that what is happening in your body right now is a good thing. Okay? Because let me tell you, you were on the road to that 1.6 number slowly increasing, probably, most likely. It probably wasn't on its way down. It was probably still kind of trying to, you know, inch its way up because your stressful life, you know, maybe, you know, I think you've started to make some healthier changes in your life, but maybe how long have you started to try to make healthier changes?
Last couple of years.
Last couple of years. Maybe before that you still were kind of not even knowing the importance of it.
That's correct, yes.
So and you're 48, so maybe you started to think about changes at 46. Okay, isn't it interesting how when we reach our 40s, we start to realize, we're not 20 anymore. Did you have that realization in your 40s?
So, I think so.
I think I do. I'm 43. Yeah. And even whether or not we're quote unquote eating really healthy and doing some exercise, you know, oh, we should be healthy. Look, Dr. Nick, he looks healthy. Doesn't he look healthy? Oh, he looks so young, you know? But trust me, I need to be where you guys are right now. I need to be water fasting right now with you guys right now. Yeah, I'm not in the best of my health right now. I can tell you that. I need time to do what you guys are doing. You know, you guys are a good example for me because I really should be doing more of what you're doing right now. You know, I've allowed stress and all these other things to get into my life as well, you know. It's not an easy world out there right now. It's a tough, competitive world right now. It's a competitive world. We're living in a competitive time in life. And if you take downtime, other people are getting ahead of you, right? But after this experience, you'll realize that every ounce of time that you put into this is going to be worth it. You know, I know the times in my life after my long water fasts, you know, those were some of the best times because my head was so clear. You know, I could really like, wow, I could see like so clearly, you know, so you could really stay very focused on what your goals are and what your dreams are, you know, because you could just really feel so clear up here. So yeah, anybody else who saw that number, because I'll get to you. Anyone else who saw that number go up? Yeah, we didn't order that for you because it wasn't it wasn't showing anything significant in the beginning. So you know, we could have just gone ahead and run it again to see if 7 days would have shown that your body was producing an acute inflammatory process, because that number, the C-reactive protein, the highly sensitive C-reactive protein, that is high, and it is produced when your body is responding to inflammation. Okay, so in the beginning, hers was 1.6 because it was responding to chronic inflammation. Okay, and right now the 12.03 is responding to some of that chronic inflammation, plus she's going through acute inflammation crises. Okay, she's going through a crisis. She's going through what we call a health crisis. Okay, and her body is telling her, you gotta stick with the program because I got more work I want to do in you.
So if mine was 0.41,
Yes.
what would it be right now if I had taken?
Well, it's an unknown. We don't know. But if you want, you know, we can. I just didn't want to. You know, some people are trying to conserve money, so I'm just, you know, I'm thinking, well, you know, it's not really, you know, a significant issue in your situation. So I thought, you know, but maybe I should have just ordered it for you, and you weren't too worried about the extra cost of it. Some people are a little bit more concerned about the extra cost, so I tried to, you know, just kind of think about what I really do need to see so that I can, but yeah. But again, it would have been interesting. It may have gone down. It may have shown that you went through a bigger acute inflammatory process than maybe I would have not been able to guess. You know what I mean? Because I would have been, at this point, when you asked me that question, I would be guessing.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have another blood test next week, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
During the water fast.
Yeah. So we could test it.
Okay.
Yeah.
40.
What's that?
What about his number?
So his number on the C-reactive protein started to go down. Okay? So his is already on the way down. Okay? So his chronic inflammation is not as severe as someone like you or you or you. Okay? Your guys' chronic inflammation is more serious because his is responding more quickly to water fasting. It's already coming down. Will yours come down? Yes, it will.
Oh, yeah.
But it needs more time. Okay? You know, I think I saw something downstairs before I came up here. There was a pamphlet about the Beamer, and it said, your 8-minute, the secret is out, something like this. Your 8-minute, what does it say, Donna? The 8-minute secret is out, right? Gosh, I wish I could sell you guys that. I wish I could. There's no secret. There's no quick. Guadalupe, how long you been suffering with this? Long time. I wish I could tell you 7 days it's going to get better. You know, we're doing the best thing you can do. There's nothing better you can do. Let me tell you, there's not a quicker, better thing you can do. This is actually the quickest thing you can really do. It really is. You know, someone else will tell you that they got a quicker way. I tell you that. I guarantee you there's a million people out there who can tell you they got a quicker way. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. They got great products out there, I tell you. They're amazing. I don't trust one of them. It's all a lot of bullshit, and it's a lot of extra money. Oh, that product? Oh, really? Water fasting? You don't think I need to do it? No, water fasting. Just get sick. Water fasting? Look, no, we got easier ways. Turmeric. Have you ever tried turmeric? Just take turmeric, right? How many times do I get asked that question? Well, Dr. Nick, you know, what do you think about turmeric? What if I just started taking some turmeric? Well, sure, go ahead. I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, whatever. You know, like, God, just take some turmeric. So what are you going to have for dinner tonight? Oh, I was thinking about some pizza. Yeah. Dr. Nick, you want some pizza with us? And by the way, what do you think about turmeric? You think turmeric would be good for me? Think I could use a little bit of turmeric in my life? I mean, in my inside, I just want to wow, the world is just so ridiculously wow, how did they get to be in that situation at that time in life, a belly like this, thinking pizza's so great, and then, you know, turmeric.
You put it on the pizza.
Yeah, and it beats all the inflammation, right? You know, everything is everything. And turmeric is a good thing out in the garden, you know? It's not a bad thing, you know? And, you know, certainly I like to have a little bit of turmeric, you know? It's, you know, on my salad, not on my pizza, you know? But at the end of the day, you know, none of these things are these ideas out there will help. You know, they can help, but the lifestyle already has to be in line with what you're even thinking anyways. Because what's the best way to reduce inflammation in your body without water fasting? If you're eating a diet of, you know, fruits and vegetables are typically respond well to reducing inflammation, right? And animal foods typically are going to be more increasing inflammation because of the high animal fat protein diet is going to lead to blood system is going to get more congested, right? It's going to be, to go through the blood system, all that heavy fat protein is going to be a slower process through the blood system, so it's going to get clogged up. That's going to lead to more inflammation. That's going to lead to, did I not say that your health is in your blood? Your health is in your blood. If your blood is super clean, moving really well, moving through your entire system really well, whoa, man, things are going to function good, right? We're all a system of all these channels, right? We got our blood channels, we got our lymphatic channels, we've got our spaces for the nerves, we've got our spaces for the joints, okay? All these things need to be opened up, cleaned out, cleared out, so that everything can flow good. That's what this program is all about. Clearing out your facial. We haven't done the ears yet. We still got to do that. We'll do that next week. Clearing out these channels, clearing out the lymphatic channels. We're doing the gouaching. We're doing the skin cleaning. We're cleaning all this shit out through here, you know. We're getting some, you know, therapy to help to dissolve all that calcification that builds up through our joints. You know, we're cleaning you guys still probably need to do the hand soak, right? Have you guys done the hand soak? We've done the foot soak, yes? Yes. Okay. And then you can use that same solution for the hand soak as well, okay? So we're cleaning the hands, the feet, you know, all these different things. We're doing the stretching every day to open up all those channels and try to lengthen all those connective tissue. Scalp cleaning, right? Increasing blood flow to the brain with the craniofacial release. So we're trying to really give you as much as possible, right? And again, I always want to stress, if there's one thing, if everything else you're too exhausted for, it's too difficult, if there's one thing that you can do, one thing while you're here, that is water fasting. Because that's where you're going to undoubtedly remove the most amount of inflammation. Because let me tell you, if you did everything else but you didn't do the water fasting, Christina, do you think you'd be removing 11 points of C-reactive protein? Do you think you'd be going through that heavy of a cycle of an acute inflammatory process? No. No. You're eating grass-fed beef and, doing all these great things and doing the skin cleaning and doing all those things are adding to what you're doing right now. They're all additions that are really, really good for you to do even when you go back to your life of practicing all these different things. But the water fasting right now, that's the deepest thing you can do. Like, you're really, really removing so much inflammation from your bodies right now. And the more inflammation you remove from your bodies right now, the better this entire system is going to feel. And the more efficient it's going to be when you start to go back to metabolizing nutrients in your system. So I always want to stress that even you think, I'm not sleeping, I'm really struggling, I don't have any energy, I can't go for my walk, I can't, I can't even show up to yoga class because, I just don't have the energy, But if you're still water fasting, trust me, you're working.
Yep.
And yesterday, a few people went to the yoga class that started at 4 o'clock. And I think everyone realized, just that did go, that once they get out of that funk and just allow a little bit of movement to start happening, they actually feel better after you do it. You actually do feel better because you just start to move some of that. You know what I mean? So some of that stuff that's going to move, but then when you start to kind of move it with some stretching and a little bit of exercise, you will feel a little bit better after that. So it's a good idea to still push yourself. But on the other hand, if you really are feeling like you can't push yourself, you still want to stick to this water fasting because it's... Now, if I saw somebody in this lab work after 7 days and clinically was unstable and they were in danger and they were harming themselves by continuing to water fast, then I would tell you. But so far, I've seen 8 people's lab work and nobody is clinically unstable. Nobody is doing harm to themselves, and everybody is doing more benefit than they could possibly even imagine they're doing. So everyone is benefiting right now by being on a water fast. There's nobody that I would say you would benefit more by not doing the water fast. The other question was if doing the vegetable broth would be just as good as the water fasting. The vegetable broth is not going to give you as deep of an experience as doing the water fasting. Okay, it's not. You're still going to go through some detoxification changes. Okay, but if you do the water fasting, you're going to go even deeper. Yeah. And trust me that what's happening right now is a lot of the changes that are taking place in, like, for instance, let's just for example, your sleep cycle. Okay, so your body is increasing cortisol. It's a stress response, and it's also a hormone response to be able to balance your sleeping habits, because cortisol is there to be secreted in the morning at higher levels and reduce in the evening, okay? Right now, your cortisol levels are increasing, which is good for most people, because most of us have suffered from stress, so our adrenal glands have a difficult time functioning as well as they used to. So oftentimes people that are getting less and less healthy will experience more fatigue in the morning and a more difficult time to sleep at night. So this is a time when sometimes you still might experience that because of the water fasting experience. But once you start to go to refeeding, not typically, but always that I've experienced is that you're going to experience really good energy when you start to do the refeeding throughout the day, and then in the evening you'll be able to, like, fully relax, eat better than even before you came here. You'll get deeper sleep, and sometimes when you are sleeping here, you'll even experience some really deep moments of sleep. Has anyone had any really interesting deep states of sleep with some very vivid dreaming while you've been here?
Yeah.
Yeah, more than like you usually? Yeah.
It gets better as it goes.
Yeah, that's what I've always found. The deeper of the water fast, the times when I have been able to get really good sleep, I'll like more, because you're getting a deeper state of rest than before, because you may have a difficult time like getting to sleep. Has anyone experienced having a difficult time getting to sleep? No? You've been sleeping pretty good? Yeah? Christina, you've had difficult time getting to sleep, yeah? Anyone else? Nicole? And then when you do get to sleep, have you experienced some deep sleep once you've finally gotten to sleep?
Not really.
No. More unsettled sleep? Have you gotten some naps in?
Yeah,
Okay. And how have those naps been?
fine, but nothing really deep.
Okay. Well, if you feel like you need to get more rest, naps, that are a good idea when you're at this time. And if you do need a nap, just tell people, hey, I need to take a nap, and so maybe remind people to stay quiet while you're napping. Okay. Any other questions about this lab work?
In a week, or when we get our next one, what might we expect with numbers? Are we going to wait and see?
Yeah, it's the first 2 to 3 weeks. I always expect to see the detoxification levels still ongoing.
Getting higher.
Sometimes, yeah, because usually that detoxification process takes 2 to 3 weeks. Yeah, so we might see things starting to come down, or we might still see things detoxing. But then when you start the refeeding, all your numbers will come into normal levels, and your and anything that was a detoxification marker that went high will be lower than what you started, because right now you're going through this elimination process. Okay, it's a detoxification, elimination, and then when you've eliminated and detoxified, as much as possible, your body goes through the repair and regeneration. Yes?
What is the anion gap?
Anion gap.
Anion gap.
So this is what happens when you go into a state of metabolic acidosis, okay? Right now, your pH levels are going into deep acidosis. Why would that be happening?
Flushing out toxins.
Yeah, and all that shit is all super, super acid. All your urine is pH 5.0, super acid. All of your blood pH is super acid. Okay, you're going through deep detoxification and elimination of shitty acidity that you don't want. Yeah, so that's why. Yeah, CO2 oftentimes will start to go lower. Anion gap starts to go higher. So you experience that metabolic acidosis experience. And everything when you start eating, your ferments and your fruits and vegetables is going to be alkaline, right? And then you'll start to see your urine pH go to nice pH 7, 7.5, 8.0. You'll see all these other numbers, CO2, anion gap, be normal levels. Mm-hmm. Any other questions? Good? Was it helpful?
Oh, yeah.
Was it interesting?
Very.
Yeah.
You know way more about blood tests than any medical doctor.
Yeah.
You really do.
That was fun.
Most medical doctors don't even know much more than the pharmaceutical guy told me your cholesterol, when it gets to that number, we have this for you. That's it. When I talk about blood work with medical doctors, most of them don't even close know as much as I know about blood work. But why do I know so much? It's because I've monitored people with blood work for so many years, baseline, and what happens to that blood and those chemistries when they go into a state of water fasting, and what happens to those numbers when they go into a state of refeeding. And I've seen all different types of people. I see vegans, fruitarians, people who come from McDonald's, from people who are on pharmaceutical medications, from people who are, so I've seen all types, you know what I mean? Most medical doctors, vegans are not going to a medical doctor. Fruitarians are not going to a medical doctor, you know what I mean? So I also know what happens to people who are on such diets that are extreme, you know what I mean? And sometimes those extreme diets result in very unhealthy numbers as well. So, there's got to be a balance, right? Fruitarians will eventually lead to disease as well, because at some level it becomes toxic to the system to not get enough nutrients from B12 and other sources. Their potassium levels will be like this, their sodium levels will be like this. Your body wants to be balanced, right? And so, a lot of, people, myself included, have gone through times when, eating just fruit made us feel really good, and we felt really good like that. And we thought, well, maybe this is the answer. And so, has anyone ever heard of people becoming fruitarian because they just they got so they just felt so good, it just felt really good, and then over time, eventually,
It's a phase.
it doesn't. Yeah, it's a phase. It's a phase. But you didn't know it at the time. You got convinced. Well, geez, maybe this is the answer. You look at nature and you think, well, there's a lot of fruit trees out there. Maybe that's what Adam and Eve did. Maybe that's why they lived so long. You start getting all these ideas in your head that maybe this is the way to live, for the rest of your life, right? Yeah. So you gotta go through sometimes experiences to start to question. Oh, wow. But should I question those beliefs? Because I was so convinced before, 7 years ago, I was so convinced this was the way that it had to be for the rest of your life, and you get so thinking, like, right? And then you got so many people out there right now. Veganism is a very big fad right now, okay? And I love vegans because they typically care about the environment, you know what I mean? But they don't realize that long-term veganism also results in health problems. And they think, oh, well, I'll just take this synthetic supplement to supplement for my B12, for my DHA, for my vitamin D. And, seemingly their blood work, they can keep it, normal when they start using the synthetic supplements as a vegan. I'm, of the preference of using natural things from the natural planet. And I do definitely believe that the commercial animal industry is one of the most destructive things on the planet today. One of, there's so many. But I think the commercial animal industry, the commercial egg industry, the commercial butter industry, egg industry, and torture meat industry, I think all those industries suck. I think they're terrible, and I don't want them in my body, and I don't want to participate and give them any of my body and forget about the money aspect. I just don't want it in my body. But I do think that still, the human being species was naturally farmers, on our little farm together. Where's my family? Where's my kids? Hey, let's go. Let's grow our food. Let's care. This is the natural system. We live in a money system. I don't think the money system is the natural system. So we do the best we can with what we've got in this money system. I mean, the money system's not going away anytime soon, So I do believe that our natural bodies do need a certain amount of B12. We don't need a huge amount of it because our body actually does very well on small amounts of B12. Has anyone ever heard of a book called The China Study? Have you read it?
I haven't read it, but I've read Forks Over Knives.
Yeah.
I watched the documentary which talks about that. That's
right. So I haven't read the China Study. I've been, I believe, told, that the studies show that lower amounts of animal protein is healthier than high amounts of animal protein. I think that was kind of the basis of the book.
Yeah.
I don't know that zero, never animal protein in your whole entire life is better than, I'm sure it's probably still better than an excess amount of animal protein, probably still is. But I don't know that anyone could ever prove that never having animal protein for your entire life, I don't know, that would be, something that would, I think eventually vegans typically will need to find, another source of getting those nutrients that they are lacking.
I need to do that.
But it's a small amount. You don't need a lot, but you don't need none of it either, So, but yeah, so that's why, I typically would see vegans, because vegans might, come to a guy like me and say, hey, maybe you could look at my lab work and tell me, what's going on here, because they have, eventually certain symptoms that they didn't have before, They start to find out, that there are certain things that they're lacking, right? So yeah, okay. Any other questions? Are you guys motivated to do another week of this challenging part of your life?
This helped.
Yeah.
Yes.
I really want an avocado.
Yeah.
That's been
The interesting thing is, after these 2 weeks are over and you're on like day 2 of refeeding, you're gonna look back and be like, it really wasn't that bad.
It's actually not that bad.
But once you start to refeed and you start to already you're going to start to feel normal again so quickly with such a small amount. It's going to be like that 2 weeks was nothing. It was so like not that big of a deal. You'll look back and you'll say it wasn't that big of a deal, you know?
I did 40 days.
But that being said, in your situation right now, you start to think, oh man, this is really not easy. I think I could just eat a little bit and it'd be okay, you know? Nothing, you know? And of course, it's not like it's bad, you know, but on the other hand, trust me, you're doing a lot more for yourself by utilizing this time that you're here anyways.
Yeah.
I mean, you're here anyways. I mean, you might as well just go the limit. Since you're here anyways. I mean, you can, I'll just come back again and then I'll do it again. You know, when I'm more prepared and, you'll have every excuse you can even imagine, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, you're here anyways. You might as well just go the limit, and you're gonna realize it was worth it. Yeah.
Here we are on day 10, I believe. Is it day 9 or 10? 9. And I read each day after, is it day 10, is going to be like 2 days, the benefits. Is that true?
Oh, yeah, of course. I mean, every day that you continue, when you get into deeper levels of fasting, it's deeper than when you did day 1 to day 2. You know what I mean? Every day becomes a deeper, because you're peeling the layers of an example that always is fitting for this is layers of an onion, right? And you're getting to those deeper layers as you continue in these stages. So yeah, no, I mean, the benefit that you get from every additional day just gets more and more. Yeah, because you're getting to those deeper layers. Your body can only get to the superficial layers. Even in the treatment that I do in my office, you know, first 3 visits, we're just doing superficial, you know, like I'm getting in there deep, but still at the end of the day, we're still just breaking down some of that superficial shit. You know what I mean? If you really want to get to the deep stuff, then that's going to come later, you know. And same thing in this process, you know, you're getting through some of those superficial layers, and you know, the longer you go, you're going to get to those deeper layers. So, okay. Anyone else have any comments or questions? Okay. Mahalo.
Mahalo, thank you, Dr. Nick.
Okay.
Thank you.